Being broke is not a life sentence, it's a skill gap. And today, I'm going to show you 5 skills that don't just help you make money once, but pay you for a lifetime. Let me start with a truth most people don't want to hear. Money doesn't come to people. Money comes through people. And the amount of money that flows through your life is directly connected to the skills you carry inside of you. You might be broke today, but broke is a condition, not an identity. If you're breathing, learning, and willing to grow, your future is negotiable. Today, I want to show you 5 skills that will pay you forever. Skills no recession can cancel, no boss can fire, and no economy can erase. Skill first, high-income communication. Your income will never outgrow your ability to communicate. The world doesn't reward the smartest person in the room. It rewards the clearest thinker and the strongest messenger. If you can explain ideas simply, if you can tell stories that move people, if you can speak with confidence instead of confusion, you will never be broke for long. Closed mouths don't get fed. Confused messages don't get paid. Learn to speak, learn to write, learn to articulate value. Because when you can communicate clearly, opportunities start chasing you. Skill second, problem solving and value creation. Money is just a receipt for value delivered. The marketplace doesn't pay you for effort. It pays you for solutions. Small problems pay small money. Big problems pay big money. If you're broke today, don't ask, how can I get more money? Ask, whose problem can I solve and how can I solve it better? When you become a solution provider instead of a paycheck chaser, income stops being a struggle and starts being a byproduct. Skill third, sales and influence. If you don't learn how to sell, you will spend your life being sold to. Sales is not manipulation. Sales is service with confidence. Every time you ask for a raise, you're selling. Every time you go to an interview, you're selling. Every time you share an idea, you're selling. The difference between poverty and prosperity is often the ability to transfer belief. When you believe deeply in the value you bring, selling becomes natural, not awkward. Learn sales, and you'll never depend on permission to earn again. Skill fourth, financial intelligence, making money without understanding. Money is how people stay broke at higher levels. Financial intelligence teaches you this. Income makes you a living. Assets make you wealthy. You don't need more money. You need better direction for the money you already touch. Learn how cash flows. Learn leverage. Learn how to make money work even when you're asleep. Because money is a terrible master, but an excellent servant. Skill fifth, learning how to learn. The world changes fast. Those who can't adapt get replaced. Degrees expire. Skills compound. The people who win are not the ones who know the most. They're the ones who learn the fastest. If you can learn new skills, unlearn bad habits, and relearn better strategies, you become recession-proof. Your future belongs to the flexible. Let me leave you with this. You don't need a miracle, you need mastery. Master these skills and your income will chase your growth. Ignore them and you'll keep blaming circumstances. You may be broke today, but if you invest in skills that pay forever, this will be the last season of your life where money controls your choices because skills don't expire. They compound. And once you have them, no one can take them away. High income communication is the skill that silently controls almost every outcome in your life, yet most people never consciously develop it. Your ideas can be brilliant, your intentions pure, your work ethic unmatched, but if you cannot communicate value clearly, the world will never fully recognize what you bring to the table. Income is not determined by how hard you work, it is determined by how well you explain why your work matters. The marketplace does not reward effort, potential, or struggle, it rewards clarity. Every level of income has a language attached to it. Low-income communication is emotional, reactive, vague, and filled with excuses. High-income communication is intentional, structured, confident, and solution-oriented. People who earn more are not necessarily smarter, they are clearer. They know how to organize their thoughts, frame their message, and guide attention. When you listen closely, high earners don't just talk more, they talk better. They choose words that create certainty, direction, and trust. Communication is more than speaking. It is thinking out loud in a way others can follow. When your thoughts are scattered, your income reflects it. When your message is confusing, people hesitate. Confusion kills momentum, and hesitation kills money. The person who can simplify complexity becomes valuable instantly. That's why teachers, leaders, negotiators, and persuaders consistently out-earn technicians who lack communication skill. The ability to explain why is often more valuable than knowing how. High-income communication also controls influence. Influence is the ability to move people toward decisions. Decisions to buy, partner, promote, invest, or follow. Every promotion is a result of someone believing your message. Every sale is a transfer of certainty. Every opportunity begins with a conversation. If you cannot confidently articulate your value, someone with less ability but better communication will take your place. The marketplace doesn't measure what you know, it measures what others understand about what you know. This skill affects how you show up in rooms, interviews, negotiations, and relationships. It determines whether people listen when you speak or talk over you. It decides whether your ideas get implemented or ignored. High-income communicators don't speak to impress, they speak to connect. They understand their audience, adjust their language, and lead conversations instead of reacting to them. They ask better questions, tell better stories, and frame ideas in a way that feels obvious once heard. Communication is also internal. The way you talk to yourself shapes the way you talk to the world. If your internal language is filled with doubt, limitation, and fear, your external communication will leak insecurity. High-income communicators manage their internal dialogue first. They replace vague hopes with clear intentions and emotional reactions with logical responses. Confidence is not volume, it is alignment between thought, word, and action. When you master communication, money becomes a byproduct. You no longer chase opportunities, you attract them. People begin to see you as someone who makes sense, someone who can be trusted, someone who can lead. In a noisy world, clarity is currency. And once you develop the ability to communicate clearly, persuasively, and intentionally, it becomes a skill that compounds for life. Jobs may disappear, industries may change, economies may shift, but the ability to communicate value will always pay you. Problem solving and value creation are the real engines behind income, influence, and long-term relevance. Money does not respond to desire, need, or effort. It responds to usefulness. The marketplace is a giant exchange system where problems are traded. D for solutions, and solutions are traded for money. The size of the problem you can solve determines the size of the reward you receive. This is why some people work extremely hard, yet remain underpaid, while others appear to earn effortlessly. They are solving different problems at different levels. Most people are trained to look for jobs instead of looking for problems. A job asks, what task can you perform? Value creation asks, what pain can you remove? Tasks are replaceable. Solutions are not. When you shift your thinking from completing assignments to creating outcomes, your economic value increases immediately. Employers, clients, and customers are not buying your time. They are buying relief. They pay for speed, certainty, simplicity, and results. Problem solving begins with awareness. You cannot create value if you are not paying attention. High-value individuals observe inefficiencies, frustrations, delays, and unmet needs that others ignore. They listen more than they speak. They study systems, processes, and people. Every complaint you hear is a business idea in disguise. Every repeated frustration is a signal that value is missing. The person who notices first and acts decisively becomes indispensable. True value creation is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Solving the wrong problem, even perfectly, produces little reward. Solving the right problem, imperfectly, often produces massive results. This is why clarity matters more than tail. High earners don't ask, what am I good at? They ask, what is expensive to ignore? When you attach your skills to a costly problem, your income scales naturally. Problem solvers think in leverage. They look for solutions that save time, reduce risk, increase revenue, or eliminate friction. The more leverage your solution creates, the more value it holds. This is why systems, strategies, and simplification are rewarded more than raw labor. One idea that saves a company 10 hours a week is worth more than 1,000 hours of effort. Value is measured by impact, not exhaustion. Value creation also requires responsibility. Complaining without creating is a sign of powerlessness. Creators take ownership. They don't wait for permission to improve things. They ask better questions, test ideas, and refine solutions through action. The marketplace rewards initiative because initiative reduces uncertainty. People trust those who move towards solutions instead of away from problems. As you grow, the problems you solve must evolve. Beginners solve personal problems. Professionals solve team problems. Leaders solve organizational problems. Visionaries solve market problems. Each level demands a broader perspective and deeper understanding. Growth is not about working harder. It is about solving higher level problems with greater consequences. When you become known as someone who solves problems, money stops being the goal and starts being the result. Opportunities come through our referrals, reputation, and trust. You are no longer chasing income. Income is chasing your ability to create value. This is why problem solving and value creation are skills that never expire. Technology can change, tools can disappear, titles can be taken away. But the ability to identify a problem, design a solution, and deliver results will always pay. In every economy, at every stage of life, sales and influence are not optional skills, they are survival skills. Whether you realize it or not, you are selling every single day. You sell your ideas, your competence, your vision, and your belief in yourself. The only question is whether you are doing it intentionally or unconsciously. People who avoid sales don't avoid selling. They avoid learning how to do it well. And they pay the price for that avoidance for the rest of their lives. Sales is not about pressure, tricks, or manipulation. At its highest level, sales is clarity combined with conviction. It is the ability to help someone make a decision that genuinely benefits them. Influence is the ability to shape perception in a way that leads to action. When you remove confusion, reduce fear, and create certainty, people move. When people move, value is exchanged. When value is exchanged, money follows. Every economic breakthrough in your life will come through a decision someone makes about you. A client decides to trust you. A manager decides to promote you. A partner decides to collaborate. A customer decides to buy. None of those decisions happen by accident. They happen because of how you present value, how you frame outcomes, and how you manage belief. People do not buy products, they buy confidence, simplicity, and results. The marketplace is crowded with talented people who struggle financially because they expect ability to speak for itself. Ability is silent. Influence gives it a voice. The person who can confidently explain why their solution matters will always outperform the person who waits to be noticed. Sales transfers belief from the seller to the buyer. If you do not fully believe in what you offer, no script or strategy will save you. Influence begins with understanding human behavior. People are driven by pain, desire, fear, and hope. They want to avoid loss more than they want to gain pleasure. They want certainty in an uncertain world. Effective sales is not about talking more, it is about listening better. The more accurately you understand someone's problem, the more powerful your solution becomes in their mind. High-level sales is leadership. You are guiding someone from confusion to clarity, from hesitation to decision. Most people stay stuck not because they lack options, but because they lack direction. When you communicate with certainty and empathy, you give people permission to move forward. That is influence. That is value. Sales also builds independence. When you can sell, you are no longer dependent on resumes, approvals, or gatekeepers. You can create opportunities instead of waiting for them. You can monetize skills, ideas, and solutions in any environment. This is why sales skill compounds. It stacks on top of every other ability you have and multiplies its impact. Rejection is part of the process, but it loses its power when you understand the game. A no is rarely personal. It is usually a timing, trust, or clarity issue. High-level influencers don't get emotional about outcomes. They focus on improving communication, refining offers, and increasing value. Detachment combined with discipline creates consistency, and consistency creates mastery. When you master sales and influence, money becomes predictable instead of random. You understand how decisions are made and how to ethically guide them. You stop hoping people will see your worth and start showing them. This skill never becomes obsolete because human decision-making never disappears. As long as people choose, Sales and influence will pay you, not once, but forever. Financial intelligence is the difference between earning money and keeping it, between working for income and building wealth. Many people spend their entire lives chasing higher income without ever understanding how money actually works. As a result, they make more and stress more, earn more and save less, and remain financially vulnerable at higher levels. Money without understanding is temporary. Financial intelligence turns income into stability, leverage, and long-term freedom. At its core, financial intelligence is about direction. Money is neutral. It only goes where it is told. If you don't give it instructions, it follows emotion. Emotion-driven money decisions lead to debt, impulse spending, and short-term gratification. Intelligent money decisions are rooted in structure, patience, and purpose. This is why two people can earn the same amount and end up in completely different financial realities. One reacts, the other directs. Most people are taught how to work for money, but not how to make money work. They are trained to trade time for income, but not to convert income into assets. Income is active, it stops when you stop. Assets are productive, they continue even when you rest. Financial intelligence teaches you to value cash flow over cash, ownership over consumption, and leverage over effort. Wealth is built by what you keep and multiply, not by what you earn and spend. Understanding leverage is a turning point. Leverage allows you to achieve more with less effort. Time, capital, systems, and people are all forms of leverage. Financially intelligent individuals look for ways to use these forces to their advantage instead of relying solely on personal labor. This is why businesses, investments, and systems outperform hourly work in the long run. Labor is limited. Leverage scales. Financial intelligence also includes risk management. Avoiding risk entirely is risky. Taking blind risks is reckless. Intelligent risk is calculated, informed, and intentional. It considers downside protection, opportunity costs, and long-term impact. People who lack financial understanding either freeze in fear or leap without a plan. Those with financial intelligence move strategically, understanding that growth requires exposure, but survival requires wisdom. Cash flow is another F, foundational principle. Many people chase large sums of money while ignoring how money moves in and out of their lives. A high income with poor cash flow creates stress. Modest income with strong cash flow creates peace. Financial intelligence teaches you to track, manage, and optimize flow so money supports your life instead of controlling it. When cash flow is healthy, decisions become clearer and pressure decreases. Debt is also understood differently through the lens of financial intelligence. Not all debt is equal. Some debt consumes, some debt produces. The difference lies in whether the debt generates income or drains it. Intelligent individuals use money as a tool, not a trap. They understand interest, opportunity cost, and the long-term consequences of financial decisions made today. Ultimately, financial intelligence gives you options. It reduces dependence on employers, markets, and circumstances. It replaces anxiety with strategy and confusion with clarity. Money stops being a mystery and starts becoming a system you can understand and improve. This skill compounds over time because every decision becomes smarter than the last. Financial intelligence does not promise instant wealth. It promises control, sustainability, and growth. And once you understand how money actually works, you stop chasing it emotionally and start commanding it logically. That is why financial intelligence is a skill that pays you for life, not just in dollars, but in freedom, peace, and choice. Learning how to learn is the most underestimated skill in a world that changes faster than most people can adapt. Knowledge is no longer scarce. Information is everywhere. The real advantage now belongs to those who can absorb, filter, apply, and update knowledge quickly. The ability to learn efficiently determines how fast you can grow, how well you can pivot, and how long you can remain relevant. In a shifting economy, adaptability is more valuable than experience. Most people confuse learning with consumption. They read books, watch videos, attend seminars, and feel productive, yet their lives remain unchanged. Real learning is not measured by what you know, it is measured by what you can do differently. Learning how to learn means converting information into behavior. It requires intention, repetition, reflection. and application. Without application, information is just entertainment. The people who advance fastest are not those who know the most, but those who can identify what matters most and focus on that. Learning how to learn begins with clarity. You must know what skill will create the highest return on your time and energy. Scattered learning produces scattered results. Focused learning compounds. When you direct your learning towards specific outcomes, progress becomes visible and motivating. Unlearning is just as important as learning. Many limitations come not from a lack of knowledge, but from outdated beliefs and habits. As environments change, old strategies stop working. Those who cling to them fall behind. Learning how to learn includes the humility to let go of what no longer serves you. Growth requires flexibility, and flexibility requires the willingness to question your own assumptions. Speed matters. The faster you can learn a skill, the faster you can monetize it, apply it, or use it to solve problems. This does not mean rushing. It means creating systems for learning, breaking skills into components, practicing deliberately, seeking feedback, and iterating quickly are all part of intelligent learning. Mastery is not talent. It is structured repetition over time. Learning how to learn also builds confidence. When you know you can acquire new skills, uncertainty loses its power over you. Fear decreases because you trust your ability to adapt. Instead of feeling threatened by change, you feel curious. Instead of resisting new challenges, you lean into them. This mindset creates resilience. No matter what happens, you know you can figure it out. In a competitive world, skills expire, technologies shift, industries evolve. The people who survive and thrive are those who treat learning as a lifestyle, not an event. They constantly update themselves, not out of panic, but out of discipline. Learning becomes part of their identity. They don't ask if they can learn something new. They assume they can and focus on learning how to learn. Also multiplies every other skill. Communication improves faster. Problem solved. Elving sharpens quicker. Financial intelligence deepens. Sales and influence become more refined. The compounding effect is powerful. One learning breakthrough often unlocks multiple areas of growth. Ultimately, learning how to learn gives you control over your future. You are no longer dependent on a single skill, degree, or opportunity. You become future-proof. As long as you can learn, you can earn, adapt, and evolve. That is why this skill pays forever, because it ensures you are never stuck, never obsolete, and never outpaced by change. Self-discipline and identity control are the invisible forces behind every visible success. Skills create opportunity, but discipline determines whether that opportunity is converted into results. Many people know what to do, understand what works, and even have access to the right information, yet remain stuck because their behavior is inconsistent. The gap between knowledge and results is discipline. Without it, potential remains unrealized, and growth remains temporary. Self-discipline is not about restriction, it is about alignment. It is the ability to do what matters most, even when it is uncomfortable, boring, or inconvenient. Motivation is emotional and unreliable. Discipline is structural and dependable. People who rely on motivation move when they feel like it. People who rely on discipline move because it is who they are. This difference alone explains why some individuals progress steadily while others cycle between excitement, and regret. Identity control is the root of discipline. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. Behavior follows belief. If you see yourself as inconsistent, procrastination feels natural. If you see yourself as disciplined, consistency feels normal. Identity is the internal story you repeatedly tell yourself about who you are and what you do. Until that story changes, behavior change will always be temporary. Most people try to change outcomes without changing identity. They attempt new habits while holding on to old self-images. This creates internal conflict and eventual burnout. Sustainable discipline comes from identity alignment. When actions match self-image, effort decreases and consistency increases. You no longer force yourself to act, you express who you believe yourself to be. Self-discipline also involves emotional regulation. Many poor decisions are not logical failures, but emotional ones. Impulse spending, procrastination, avoidance, and self-sabotage are often attempts to escape discomfort. Discipline teaches you to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. It builds the capacity to delay gratification in exchange for long-term gain. The ability to say no to the present protects the future. Time is another area where discipline shows itself. Everyone has the same hours, but not the same priorities. Disciplined individuals structure their environment to support productive behavior. They reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones. They understand that willpower is limited, so they design systems that make the right choices easier. Discipline is not about strength, it is about design. Identity control also shapes standards. Standards determine what you tolerate, accept, and repeat. When your standards rise, your behavior follows automatically. You stop negotiating with yourself. Excuses lose their power. You do not ask whether you feel like doing the work. You ask whether it aligns with who you are becoming. This shift transforms discipline from struggle into expression. Over time, self-discipline compounds. Small daily actions repeated consistently create massive results. The effects are not always visible immediately, but they are always cumulative. Discipline builds trust with yourself. Every promise kept strengthens confidence. Every commitment honored reinforces identity. This internal trust becomes unshakable and spills into every area of life. Self-discipline and identity control ultimately give you freedom. While undisciplined people feel trapped by circumstances, disciplined people create options. They can choose growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and progress over excuses. This skill never expires because it governs how all other skills are used. With discipline, talent becomes powerful. Without it, talent becomes wasted. That is why self-discipline and identity control pay forever. They determine not just what you achieve, but who you become, and who you become shapes everything you will ever earn, build, or lead. Let me leave you with this final thought. Your life will never be limited by what you don't have. It will always be limited by what you haven't developed. Money is not the starting point, skills are. When you build skills, income becomes inevitable. When you build discipline, growth becomes sustainable. When you control your identity, your future stops being accidental and starts becoming intentional. Being broke today does not disqualify you. It only reveals where your focus needs to go next. Skills compound, decisions stack, identity solidifies. And over time, the person you are becoming will always outperform the circumstances you are in. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need a miracle. You need commitment to mastery. Master communication, and you will be heard. Master value creation, and you will be needed. Master sales, and you will be paid. Master financial intelligence, and you will keep what you earn. Master learning, and you will stay relevant. Master discipline, and you will stay consistent. Do that long enough, and money will stop being your problem because you will have become the solution. This isn't about getting rich fast. It's about becoming valuable forever. And when you become that person, being broke will no longer be a season you fear. It will be a chapter you outgrew.